Hi and welcome to RI Guns TV. I'm your host Adam. Today we're at the Colonial encampment, which follows the Gaspee Day parade. We're here at the Pawtuxet Rangers setup, and they're going to teach us about the firearms from the colonial times, including their cannon, their muskets, and the firearms used to defend the freedoms of the Rhode Island colonists. We're joined here today by Major Ken Gilbert, who's going to give us a tour of the camp, explain a little bit about the Pawtuxet Rangers and their history, and thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. Please come right in. This is the commanding officer's tent. Our colonel would stay here. As you can see, right, does have its privileges. Has a very nice poster bed and his desk, because this is also an office. This small teepee-like tent is actually called a belle d'armes. This is where the muskets would have been stored at night. It keeps them out of the weather and out of the moisture to keep your powder dry. Being a senior officer, I would be entitled to have my own tent. And it's not as elaborate, of course, as the commanding officer's tent, but it's quite nice. I have a rope bed and a nice rug, and again, a little bit of privacy that the other people would not have. These are enlisted men's tents. A sergeant may be entitled to have one of his own, but 5 enlisted would have been assigned to this tent, either 5 corporals or 5 privates. A corporal would be sleeping in the back, the junior-most private would sleep in the front. There was a definite order to things in the military. The corporal in the back, when he has to get up in the middle of the night to do what people have to do in the middle of the night, would be stepping on every person on the way out, and he would step on them on the way in, so that the junior-most person got stepped on the most and the corporal did not get stepped on at all. This is called the Grand Union flag. It's the first recognized official American flag. It was actually used when we were in rebellion, not fighting for independence, but that short period from about April of 1775 to July of 1776. When we really weren't fighting for independence, we were fighting for our rights as Englishmen and in rebellion. To show that we were in rebellion, we took the British ensign and we broke it up with white stripes. No, it would just be a solid red field and of course the familiar crossbars in the field. And we broke it up with white stripes to indicate that we were in rebellion. This flag over here is actually the Rhode Island battle flag. It actually predates the Grand Union. And as you can see, it's a white field with the anchor and hope, and it also has 13 stars in a blue field. That looks familiar. It's because what we actually did when we became an independent nation, or declared our independence, is we actually superimposed this flag onto this flag, and it became the official American flag that we think of today, with the stars and stripes.
Very interesting. So we have the Gaspee Days, which commemorates the sinking of the Gaspee. We have flags that started our country, and it all happened right here.
Yes. Very good, Corporal. Corporal Kinsley, would you demonstrate the musket?
Oh, certainly. What a typical British soldier would carry in the 19th century is what's called Pattern 3. 75 caliber, smooth bore. In other words, there's no rifling, there are no grooves as you would find in a modern rifle.
Right.
This will shoot approximately 3 rounds a minute.
What would the effective range be?
Effective range, a musket ball will sail out, 1 to 200 yards, but effective range with aiming, that is, I would say 50 to 75 yards, of hitting something, with a planned shot.
Now, is this something that everyone would carry? Are there certain people that would have these?
Well, they would. The British would have the brown vest. The American counterparts would have both the brown vest and a French musket called the Charleville. That one is, slightly longer than this, has a smaller caliber. It's a 69 versus 75. Beauty of that is if, say, we capture a rebel outpost or something, we could actually use their powder and ball, whereas they could use our powder, but not our musket balls.
Okay. Now, how does this fire? I see there's a lot of action here.
Okay, no problem. What we do is one would pour the powder in, slap that down to make sure that doesn't go out of their way. Next, pour the powder down, then ram it home with this.
Okay.
Wait on command, cock this all the way back, and fire.
Okay. What would this action be called?
This is what's called a frizzen cover
Okay.
and the firing pan.
All right.
There's also a little hole here, so when they literally scream fire in the hole, that means it's ready to fire. As a spark is going to hit this, and it's going to ignite the powder.
Excellent.
It's also another phrase, you all heard the old phrase lock, stock, and barrel. Lock, this is stock, and barrel. This is 9.5 pounds, as it is. And unlike modern firearms, when this is ignited, after 3 or 4 rounds, this hole gets to be plugged, and that's and use this pick to periodically keep it clean. So otherwise, it's going to gum up. The spark won't ignite the powder.
Okay.
Now basically, we've got the flint here. I have, the flint there. See, it gets tempered down or tightened down.
Okay.
Has a leather piece right here to hold it in. Because without that, it has a chance of this. Though it's strong, it's quite brittle. It can break. This acts as a brace, if you will.
Okay.
Holds it in place so it can have a decent spark.
Okay, so the flint sparks against this?
Yes, sparks. Yep, sparks against the frizzen.
Okay. And that guides the spark into that pan you were
That is
talking about?
correct.
All right, that will ignite the sequence.
Yep.
Okay.
Base. Forward. March. Left. Left. Make ready. Present. Fire.
Very good.
And we're back with the majors to talk about their 3-pound cannon.
Yes. This is known as a 3-pounder. It's on a field mount. It's not on a garrison mount. It's on a field mount. This can be moved by horses, or we move it with a pickup truck. But it's called a 3-pounder with a 3-pound iron shot and a 1-pound service charge of gunpowder. It could send a projectile about a mile. Some of the instruments that are used on this. This is called the worm. This is used to remove any embers or any any wadding or anything like that between rounds to make sure that everything is clear inside. Again, it's safety, safety, and safety on this gun. This is a sponge. There are actually 2 sponges, a wet sponge and a dry sponge. After you worm the piece, you would run the wet sponge down to put out any embers that are on there, and also it forms kind of a suction. And the vacuum will also put out any kind of embers that are down there from firing a first round. Then you would use a dry sponge, send the dry sponge down, and then that would clean any remaining moisture in the barrel, so it would not sully the charge. Next instrument is a ramrod, and that of course is self-explanatory. That would be used to ram down the charge. The charge would be placed at the muzzle, and then it would be rammed down. It would be rammed down in a very, very strong manner so that it is flat against the breech. We don't want any air gaps. This tool is called the lint stock. This is actually used to fire the weapon. I would give the order to make ready. The firer would come up, touch it to the prime, and that would fire the cannon. This is called a ready box. This is where the charges would be stored in readiness to be and prepared to be fired. They would be kept in a steel box inside here, a modern ammo container, obviously to keep the powder dry, to keep it safe from any kind of sparks or anything that could possibly ignite it. Again, safety first. Now you notice the hinge side of a cover is facing towards the gun. That way, if there is any possibility of any kind of accident, any concussion would blow it shut. But this is only open long enough for what we call the powder monkey, the person that delivers the charges to the gun. It's only open long enough for them to retrieve the charge, and that's it. No more than that. It's also kept latched so that, again, that there's no possibility of any sparks or anything to ignite the powder that's in here. Again, black powder is extremely dangerous. These cannons killed 200 years ago. They will kill today. They are not toys. They are actually weapons. The cannon that we have is actually a modern gun. It was cast about 25 years ago. It was one of the cannon that they cast for the sloop Providence. It was a leftover. We were able to obtain it. It was cast, then bored, and then sleeved with a steel sleeve. So it is actually a modern weapon. They're wearing work gloves. They're also underhand. They're not doing a hand over, underhand. That way, if there is some sort of an accident, it will only hurt them a little bit and not take off any fingers or anything like that.
Body away.
Exactly.
And also drop their hands down.
Right.
Yeah, and they try not to use their thumbs. They try to use just their fingers. That way, everything is out of the way. Even though it's an extremely, extremely remote chance that anything could happen, but we all know when it comes to firearms that always, always, always make sure. Okay, let's go through a drill. Search and tend the vent.
Vent is clear, sir.
Advance the worm. Worm the piece. Advance the wet sponge. Wet sponge the piece. Advance the dry sponge. Dry sponge the piece. Advance the cartridge.
Box open.
Charge the piece. Ram down cartridge. You notice that they put the implements on the wheels. That indicates that we have a charged piece. Prick and prime.
I'm ready, sir.
Make ready. Give fire. Bang. Search and tend the vent. Search and tend the vent.
Vent is clear of all debris, sir.
Advance the worm. Worm the piece. Advance the wet sponge. Wet sponge the piece. Advance the dry sponge. Dry sponge the piece. Stand easy. Secure the gun. Very good. We will now secure the gun, which basically means kind of putting it to bed. We'll put a cover over the touch hole, a tompion in the muzzle. And that'll just keep any kind of moisture or anything else out of it. We'll also secure the ready box onto the trail of the cannon itself, and all the charges will be placed in a secure area, away from the public and away from the gun. Again, safety, safety, and safety. That's all you think on this gun.
Well, thank you, Major, for having us out today. We learned a lot about the muskets, we learned about the cannon, the firearms of the times, and also some safety. And if people want to learn more about the Pawtuxet Rangers, where can they go?
Well, first, you're welcome. You're very welcome to come to our camp at any time. We have the camp set up and take a look around. And if you would like to know more about the Pawtuxet Rangers, just go to pawtuxetrangers.org and you'll have all the information you need. We are open for membership, and please feel free to come by to our armory at 59 Remington Street in Warwick, Rhode Island. The armory was given to us in 1843 following Dawes Rebellion. It's a very interesting building to come and take a look at. Again, just visit us at pawtuxetrangers.org. Thank you.
And we're also here today as part of the Gaspee celebration. Can you tell us anything special about next year?
Yes, next year will be the 50th anniversary of the celebration of the burning of the Gaspee in modern times. And if you would like to come out, we will be having the encampment again next year. And next year will be a huge event. So please don't miss it. If you'd like more information on that, go to gaspee.com.
Tune in next time, folks. We're going to go on with some more great episodes, great places to go. Obviously, we're finishing out here to get the Gaspee in the background. And until next time, eyes and ears, people on the firing line, let's keep it safe.